So you're probably wondering what this was. This was my Honda RC51 street bike in the back of my van, on the way to the track. This is actually what it used to look like. This was the night before I left, and this is what it looks like now. Just a burnt pile of nothing. So I needed a new motorcycle. That's when my friend John reached out and said he had a Honda CBR600RR that I could have for completely free. I just had to drive 20 hours to Oklahoma City to get it. So that's exactly what I did. So this is it back in the shop. Didn't video a whole lot of the road trip back, but here it is. It's a fuel injected bike. The fuel tank looked clean, not a lot of rust, so I just crossed my fingers and we tried to fire it up. So now that I knew that this bike wasn't just a complete junker and actually ran, I wanted to get this juice box tuner off it. The previous owner had put this on, and it allows you to manually control how much fuel goes through the injectors. But I actually plan on racing this bike in a stock 600 class, and a tuner is not allowed. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it, and it's just more complex stuff I don't really want to deal with, so I'm just going to remove it. So here's us taking the tank off here to get to those injectors.
My dad insisted on doing everything because he just wanted his tools put back right.
My next step now was to cover up some of the essential electronics, even though there's no battery in it. I just want to get it all pressure washed up and clean before I actually start working on it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier about the modifications. It's like, this is one of the most dangerous machines you can ride. Yeah. And there's like drywall screws in the tail light. Fuel line doesn't have a connector on it. Burning your foot on the exhaust. This thing is like death trap.
You do all that shit, but get that thing hooked up, and that was the easiest way for you to. You go spend $500 on Continental tires, but crazy exhaust. I shut up properly.
So now that I've actually started this motorcycle and the dash, everything works, the bike actually runs, I could start addressing some of the mechanical issues before we put fairings on and everything like that, because obviously this is going to get a whole new set of fairings and everything else. But there's a few things we have to address first. Master brake cylinder up here is leaking out all the fluid. So I'm going to rebuild that cylinder, but before I do, I'm going to take advantage of there being no pressure in the front system, and I'm going to change these pads. So to get these front calipers off, it's fairly simple. It's just two 14mm bolts here and here. I've got the extra pads, and so all we got to do is just remove these bolts really to get started. And as you can see in there, these are getting close to the end of their life. I'm not sure how old they are either, so it's just a good idea to pull these out. And now you should be able to grab the pads from the bottom. They should come right out. Oops. And you can see those are pretty gummed up. I think that the fork seals are leaking on this, so I think that was dripping down into these pads and making it, you know, mixing with the brake dust and kind of making like this paste that you see. So I'm actually going to clean this out a little bit. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but there is just so much gunk all inside here. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this really good. A break there. And you can see there's a little bit of fluid still in there, so I mean, most of it is out. Acid solution, sit on top of all that gunk for a few minutes and see if we can just spray it off before we start scraping and everything else. So I think right here where he welded this in, I think that's where the original exhaust slipped in, and then it turned up right here and went behind the fairing. So I'm just gonna take a cutoff wheel and cut it right behind the welds and hope that the new exhaust that I buy has enough play right here in that connection to compensate for the maybe ½ inch that I'll have to cut off to get rid of these terrible welds. So I've got the air filter all cleaned, oiled, back in the air box. I threw an old battery in it to see if it would run. I know that I already had it running, but that was with the whole juice box injector tuner in it, and I wanted it to run without it. And I went to start the bike, and I noticed that the bike is in neutral, but I'm not getting the neutral light here on the dash. And then when I jiggle this thing right here, the whole fuse box with the relays, if I move this around, so I'll move it around, well, you can see that the light is coming on and off. So I'm going to investigate this a little bit more. I don't know if it's one of these relays that's bad or if it's actually one of these connectors. So after poking around a little bit, I discovered it was these two wires, this one and this one. It's the only two wires that I can move and get this to flicker or turn on and off. Every other wire does nothing to the neutral light whenever I do that, so I'm going to investigate these two wires right here. Alright, so just like I suspected, these two green wires right here, which if you look at the top of the fuse box, goes to this little diode type thing. I pulled the diode out and the connectors inside were just spread apart a little too much, so I just pinched them closer together, reinserted the diode with a little bit of dioelectric grease, and now, as you can see, we have a solid neutral light. No matter how I manipulate this now, any way I want, it stays solid the whole time. So now it's time to actually fire it up. See if this thing will run without the juice box installed. So we have the key on, this is on, bike is in neutral. Here we go. Oh, all right, one more try. Well, there you go. So I guess that was that issue solved. So now just time to tighten all this back up. Put a new loom on it right here where I had to separate the wires and just kind of get it all back together. So that's the end of the video. You made it to the very end. It's not the end of this project, obviously. I'm waiting on a ton of parts. I still have so much to do to this bike, and I'm just so stoked that the bike actually runs, and it's all coming together so great. I'm actually going to be riding this bike on the track in just a few weeks' time, so stay tuned for that, and it's going to start looking a lot better. This video is just getting a lot of little mechanical stuff out of the way, but please stay tuned for the next video, and I appreciate all of you guys watching.
So get ready for the new CBR600RR. Kilograms lighter. Genuine increase of 3.8 brake horsepower. New diamond shaped aluminum frame. Design typified by the T-shaped lower cowl.
Like you, I also like to ride it on road.
Feel the evolution of power.